Assalamu alaikum students. Article for today is Ohm's law, and as you have already studied in class 10th, that Ohm's law develops a relationship between potential difference and current. So who was behind developing this particular proportionality? It was George Simon Ohm, who was a German physicist, and he develops the relationship between current and potential difference, and also wrote a book named Ohm's Law in 1827. To understand the concept of flow of charges, or simply you can say current, we consider water analogy, right? Consider there is a pipe and water is flowing out of that pipe, and continuously water is flowing in that particular pipe. All the charged particles are the same like water, right? Most of the charged particles, many of the charged particles are flowing in a particular wire or a conductor, and all the charged particles, they are flowing in that particular pipe, and or you can say that particular wire or conductor, just like the water is flowing in this particular figure, right? So current is basically the flow of charges, is basically the water analogy, that is water is flowing out of that pipe. Now talking about the resistance, if I'm taking that particular pipe in which water is flowing out, and I just put a thumb in front of that pipe, it will definitely block the water's path, right? So because of that, the water will emerge out of that, or you can say rush out of that particular pipe with greater pressure, with greater speed, you can say, sorry, with a greater speed, and hence we are developing a resistance or a hindrance in the flow of the for in the flow of the water. Similarly, a resistor basically works like this, and a resistor basically develops a hindrance in the passage of the flow of electron. Okay, now coming towards Ohm's law. What is basically Ohm's law? Ohm's law can be verified by or you can say it is having three different quantities, which are basically voltage, you can say potential difference, resistor, and current, right? Voltage or potential difference is something like the pressure which is exerted on the water in this particular vessel. So air is exerting a certain pressure on the water molecules to flow out of that particular pipe, right? So voltage is equal to pressure, and in case of resistor, we see that the pipe is basically at on the below at the very below, you can see that the pipe has been blocked, so it is basically comparable to resistor, right? And the current, the flow, the water molecules are flowing, so that means the charges are also flowing, so this is basically the current. How can we develop a relationship between Ohm's law? And Ohm's law is basically the relationship between current and potential difference, and the constant which here comes is basically resistance, or you can say 1 over R. And what is I? Current. V is the potential difference of voltage, and R is basically the resistance. And how can we state Ohm's law? Ohm's law states basically the current through a conductor between 2 points is directly proportional to the potential difference of voltage across the 2 points. And introducing here the concept of constant of proportionality, which is basically the resistance, and all of this should be occur within the limitation of Ohm's law, which basically says that the physical state of the conductor does not change. That means we have to keep the temperature of the system constant, right? So this is the basic limitation of Ohm's law, which states that the temperature should be kept constant, and the relationship for Ohm's law is basically described as V equals to IR, I equals to V by R, or simply R equals to V by I. And R equals to V by I is helpful for determining the unit of R as well. The unit of voltage is basically volts, and the unit of current is ampere, so volt per ampere is basically equal to ohm, right? And ohm is the unit of resistance, and it is named after the name of the scientist, who was George Simon Ohm. Now, coming towards the typical path of an electron, we know that usually when we have not connected that conductor with some kind of battery source, or electric field is not supplied externally, then all the free electrons, they are moving randomly, right? But whenever we have supplied some kind of electric field, then what would happen? Electrons will definitely show collisions, but they will accelerate in the start, and after some time they will attain uh, an average velocity, which is known as the drift velocity, which we have already read in the previous article. And this basically drift velocity is responsible then for the flow of the charges, right? Now the resistive force counterbalances the electric force. The drift velocity is constant, right? How can we say that? Because electrons, they are very small charged particles, they have a greater speed. Now this greater speed is basically counterbalanced by the resistive force, which is um, offered by the molecules of the atoms, right? So when the resistive force is high, the current will go down. That means it will definitely decrease if the voltage difference that drives the motion remains the constant, right? So if you are increasing the resistance, that obviously means you are increasing the hindrance for the flow of charges, and that's how the current would definitely decrease. Now, coming towards, as you can see in this figure, what sort of work is doing the resistance. Resistance is basically shrinking that particular conductor. And now the charges, they are facing many kind of some sort of problem in passing through that particular conductor. And basically voltage, that is the battery source, basically pushing the charges to flow through that particular conductor and overcoming the resistance. And last but not the least, the very important thing is basically ohmic and non-ohmic substances. Well, the ohmic substances are those substances which definitely obey the Ohm's law, right? That is, V is directly proportional to I, and the slope in this case we get would be definitely 1 by R, right? Because we know that the slope of the line would definitely be tan theta equals to I by V, which is equal to 1 by R. Or you can simply say V is directly proportional to I, then the slope would definitely be R. In the case of ohmic resistance, what basically happens that with the passage of time, when the voltage is increased, definitely as soon as the current starts flowing, the temperature of the conductor starts increasing, right? But definitely there is a certain limit after which the temperature would definitely not increase. So to maintain the condition of Ohm's law, all the metals and all the good conductors, they are having this quality in them, that the temperature remains constant in them, right? So the temperature remains constant, that means resistance does not change. And ultimately what would happen, that the Ohm's law is obeyed. And the example of Ohm's law, definitely they are metals, and all the good conductors come under the ohmic substances. For example, we have copper, we have iron, we have zinc, and so on, so on. Coming towards the non-ohmic substances are basically such substances which do not obey Ohm's law, right? As you can see in the graph, this graph is basically for this graph has been developed for the case of a thermistor, right? Thermistor, which is basically a semiconductor. So all the non-ohmic substances, they do not obey Ohm's law. Initially they obey Ohm's law, like V is directly proportional to I, but after a certain region, or after a certain point, we see that there is a marked deviation from the straight path, and we observe a curve in that region which is more upside, right? So basically in that particular case, what we say, that this deviation shows that it is not following the or obeying the Ohm's law, and the temperature definitely has increased because of the, and ultimately the resistance also increased, right? So this graph is basically responsible for basically shows the non-ohmic resistors, for especially for thermistors. Same for the case of all the semiconductors, and for the filament of bulb as well. As you know that the filament of bulb is basically a very high power consuming device, and what it does basically, with the passage of time, it starts to get the heat up, and the temperature increases. When the temperature increases, the resistance increases, and ultimately it does not follow the Ohm's law, and we observe marked deviation from the straight path, and slope can be calculated as follow. And the examples are definitely semiconductor diode, thermistor, and filament of bulb as well. So this was the lecture for today. Thank you so much, and inshallah we'll see you soon.